According to research commissioned by Triton Business Advisors, 47% of small business owners act as their own marketers and struggle to anticipate their return on investment and whether or not their marketing efforts are truly effective. Anne Laffin is a marketing problem solver, strategist, and content creator who assists entrepreneurs and founders to grow and amplify their marketing message and the work they bring to the world. She does this by and through her in the trenches marketing philosophy, which comes from her more than 20 years of experience in marketing, working with companies both big and small, including startups in market research, tech, financial services, and animal health care. Laffin believes that marketing is one big salad, and there are several ingredients that makes your salad, from a marketing perspective, more marketable, tasteful, and fulfilling. If you're ready to give your startup or entrepreneurial journey a boost today, you're in the right place, because my conversation with Laffin starts right now. I don't want you to miss a minute of this valuable and marketable information that Laffin has to share. So, without further delay, I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. And if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program. And I'm super excited to talk to you all about marketing this morning.
Yeah.
Great to see you, and happy Wednesday to you.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, and I know you're a marketing specialist that really loves to get into the nitty gritty of marketing. So I'm wondering if we can start our conversation by you simply telling me what makes you so fabulous and why you love what you do.
Sure. So I started my own company about 3 years ago now, and I create foundational marketing for early stage startups. So early companies that don't usually have a ton of employees, don't have a lot of their marketing plan together, and they need a lot of help. And a lot of the companies that I work for are also creating products or services that are really looking to make a difference in the world, which is important to me. So I love being able to go and spread the word, or help these companies spread the word about all the amazing things that they're making. So it's a lot of fun, and I feel like I'm doing some good in the world, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. No. And tell me, what's that mean to you to be a marketing problem solver? And what does the term foundational marketing really mean to you?
Yeah, for me, it means messaging and strategy. So whenever I talk to a new client, the first thing that I want to look at is, what are we actually trying to say, and who are we trying to say it to? And then I want to make sure that we have a plan in place for getting the word out. So that's where I start, right? I think of that like the foundation of a building. If you don't have those things solidly built, your building's going to crumble down. So that's the foundation that I like to build.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do some motivational speaking. And as a motivational speaker, I know the importance of a positioning statement and the value of it. So I know there's some correlation to the marketing world as well when it comes to a value positioning statement, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, if you've heard of Simon Sinek and the start with why, I mean, that why is really your value prop, right? It's the thing that's very different about your company and the value that it brings to solve a problem. So yes, it's huge to startups and beyond. They need to know what their value is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you're on that soft spot for working with single moms. I know that you're not one yourself, but I know that that's a demographic that you identify with. So I'm wondering if you can tell me why.
You know what? I think moms in general and single moms definitely, they have a heavy load on their plates for sure. And anything that I can do to help lighten that load and get the word out for any of the type of work that they're doing is something that I am more than happy to help with.
Yeah, and then I also wanted to ask you about the concept of women's empowerment and what do you think success looks like for women today in today's modern business world?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, right? I mean, I'd like to answer it a couple ways if that's okay. I mean, one for
Absolutely.
me as a mom, right? And as a businesswoman and someone that owns her own business, I think for me, trying to find balance between it being okay to be a businesswoman and be a mom is important. So making sure that I can go to soccer games and swim practice and events at school and not feel guilty about that is huge. At the same time, I really enjoy the work I do with my clients. So I don't want that to be pushed aside or given a back seat just because I'm a mom. And now there are plenty of women that are working who are not moms, and that has nothing to do with their goals. And I would say, regardless of that, regardless of being a mom, I think for women right now, the key is still getting a seat at the table, making sure that our voices are heard, and feeling like what we're doing is providing value to the companies we work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I'm also fascinated to ask you the about the concept of filling your own cup as a mom because, as you know, mom's time is really in demand when you have kids, whether you're married or even if you're not. If you
Yeah.
have a husband, if you have kids, your time is in demand. But how important is it to you to really find your self identity? And what would you say to moms who want to balance both their work and home life as well while also finding a piece of themselves? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I use the term kind of pour into your own cup, and I fully believe that. I have a lot of hobbies that I have made sure that I have kept up with. I'm an avid runner. I love to read. I love to garden. And some of those things I will do with my children, but a lot of those things I'll just do on my own because I do recognize that if I don't take care of myself, and I don't pour back into my own cup, I can't be there for them. And I won't be there for my clients either. So it's important for my kids and for my business. And that's something that I am really very mindful of as I go through my days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Anne, that you have a mentality in business that you use sort of in the trenches, which is sort of derived from your 20 plus years in business and
Yeah.
the variety of experiences that you've had. So tell me about why in the trenches is so important to you and why you identify with that term.
Yeah. I think two things kind of pop up for me. One of my very first jobs was for a large market research firm. And I came in at the bottom and I worked my way all the way up to the top of the department and learned all the functionality, learned all the job roles, dug into everything that it was going to take to make the department better. Flash forward, years later, I now work with startups and I work with early stage startups, not ones that necessarily have tons of funding or have, hundreds of employees, small, young companies. and they need help. They need someone that can come in and perform a lot of functions, that can get things up and running, that is willing to wear a lot of hats. And I've done that from the beginning of my career, and I enjoy it. I understand that resources are typically limited for early stage companies, whether that's money or whether it's people or something else. So to me, that's why that in the trenches, being willing to get in there and do the work is very important for startups.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I'm also curious to ask you how creativity in marketing can help lead to a more inclusive environment where all voices within an organization can be heard.
I think that in order to be creative, you really have to know, I think, who you are speaking to, right? You have to know, you have to have a starting place, if this makes sense here. So in order to kind of include everyone, you need to know who's already included. If you can follow me here. So I think it's important to get a good baseline for where you're at, and then you can just start brainstorming. It's like, all right, if we're here at this, this spot, sky's the limit. What do we do next? And so I think at that point, creativity, you let it rip, right? You don't put any limits on it at all. You brainstorm, you put ideas on sticky notes, you, whatever it is, have meetings with as many different types of people as possible in the company. And, especially if we're, talking about marketing here, bring in people from other departments, right? Like, get diverse ideas so that your marketing doesn't get stagnant, and so that hopefully you're providing a better picture of what your company actually does.
Yeah, and one of the ways that we can provide sort of a more diverse perspective is hiring folks with disabilities and really putting them into the marketing pipeline. As I shared with you before we started recording, I have cerebral palsy, and I work with businesses and organizations to amplify the hiring of folks with disabilities. So tell me, what sort of competitive advantage do you think it would provide to infuse more folks with disabilities into the workforce?
Alternative perspective, right? Different viewpoint. I think that's a wonderful thing, right? It's very easy to have a very narrow view on what you think is happening with your customers, or how you think your product might be beneficial. So hiring, again, diverse skill set, diverse types of people, diverse backgrounds can do nothing but improve the offering you can bring to your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the name of your marketing firm plays off your last name and your love for water. So tell me about why you came up with the name and the success of your company since you've launched it rather in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before we started recording today. My daughter is a swimmer. I was also a swimmer. I've loved the water since I was a child, whether that is the pool or the beach. And so when I started thinking about things that I related to, or, when I was making the name, obviously Finn is the last part of my last name. Finn, water. I was thinking of dolphins. Just go with me here. But I find, there can be a lot of chaos in the ocean, right? If we're using this water theme. And my whole value proposition is to help kind of calm the storm, and your marketing doesn't have to be messy, which it frequently can be at startups. So I'm hoping that that my name kind of plays off the idea that I can help calm the storm and calm the mess at startups.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me, how do you think your competitive spirit in life can help you in marketing and in business? So how do you think a competitive spirit can help really amplify things from a business perspective?
I think when done the right way, because I've played sports my whole life, so I definitely have like that kind of competitiveness to my personality. I think it can help push you to keep going even when you're tired, right? Not all days in your business are good days. Not all months are good months either. And so you need something beyond just motivation some days. So having a little bit of that, wanting to win, wanting to compete, and finding joy in that is, I think, has been very useful to keep me going even on the days when it's tough or just hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you're a staunch believer that startups are changing the conversation around entrepreneurship. So I'm wondering if you can share some thoughts with me in that area this morning.
I mean, I have such a fondness for startup founders, for entrepreneurs, for people that want to make their dreams become reality. And I think the startup environment is such a cool space. It's filled with such good energy, and there is no shortage of ideas. So we talked about creativity earlier. Like, to me, this is the breeding ground for creativity and new ideas. And the startup world has definitely had a rough start to the year, but I'm just so excited for the ideas that I see coming my way. The startups that I see starting up, and I love it. I think it's a great community to be involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. And marketing success and can come has many different definitions depending on what your business is and what your objectives are. But I'm wondering if there are any fundamental principles that any startup or business can follow to sort of maximize their profits, solve problems, and be a leader in innovation. What are your thoughts there?
I think you have to talk to your audience. Like, that's actually, especially for these early stage companies. And I know sometimes, you only have a few customers to start with. Maybe it's a limited amount, but talking to the people you either want to buy your product or have bought your product, and learning about how they are reacting to it, how they're using it, the challenges they're having, is huge to understanding everything else about your marketing. It helps you understand maybe changes you need to make, changes in messaging, helps you understand maybe changes to the product that need to happen, and it helps you understand where your actual customer is so that you can market to them more accurately, right? If we have limited resources, we need to understand where our audience is. So I think just, for everyone that's starting out, the more conversations you can have regarding who your customer is and what their wants and needs and pain points are is a great place to start. It's a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me, how do you think marketing has evolved over the course of time to sort of satisfy the evolving business needs of today's sort of economy and business world at large?
Yeah, I mean, things have definitely, moved mostly into the digital world now. I mean, I still have some clients where there's some old holdouts of, we have more direct mail, or we still see some fax machine things happening, or kind of more old school tactics. But I think the biggest conversation, or part of the conversation right now, right, is AI and how that's going to affect marketing moving forward. And, for me, I am trying to embrace it as much as I can, from the sense of, I want to learn about it. I want to figure out ways that it can help me optimize my own process, or help me optimize the work I create for my clients. So I don't think AI is going anywhere anytime soon. So I think that finding ways to use AI as a tool to make your job easier, make your life easier, is going to be key.
Yeah, and to that point, what do you think is the key to sort of growing your audience? I asked you about inclusivity earlier, but what do you think is the key to growing your audience as a marketer? How can you reach more people?
I mean, part of it is that you have to understand where they are, right? And then you also need um, a diverse set of channels that you can use to reach different people in different places. So I I like to use the example that marketing is a salad, right? Salad is not just lettuce. You need cucumbers and tomatoes and croutons and salad dressing, right? You need a whole bunch of things in order to really make a salad. And the same is true for marketing. So if you want to reach more people, you might need email and social media and maybe paid search, and you need to go to conferences or whatever it is, right? These are all tactics you can employ, but coming up with the right mix is what's really important. So having, again, like going back to my strategy, messaging, having that foundation set first so that you can build onto it with the right tactics is important to helping to get the word out there effectively.
Yeah, and just one follow-up to that, since you brought up the salad concept. How important is networking to make marketing connections? Because I truly believe in life and in business. Life is a constant game of networking, isn't it?
100%. And I mean, definitely in marketing, definitely just in business in general, right? I mean, as startups, again, or early stage startups begin to grow, frequently founders will need to look towards their own network to find people to test things, to look at things, right? To hear a pitch, to potentially invest. And, even from on the personal side, I'm always building my network, because you never know who you're going to meet that just could be good for advice, could refer a client, could whatever, right? Just be a friend. Mm-hmm. And so I think networking is huge. It's extremely valuable in business and in marketing.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I was so excited to talk to you this morning is I know you have a background in communications, and I originally went to school to become a sports reporter, so I was fascinated to talk to you this morning about your background in communications, and I know that you're in marketing now, but that's a form of communications, though. So tell me about your love of communicating with people, because we have that in common. So I'm fascinated to ask why you like connecting with people so much.
I find people fascinating, to be perfectly honest with you, right? Everybody has a story. And most of the time you only get a small snippet of the story from them as you're having conversations. But to me, the best business I've done, the best partnerships that I've had are with people that I can communicate with freely, are open. And so being a good communicator, and part of that communicating is just listening, is huge and really important.
It makes a difference, doesn't it? It makes a difference, doesn't it?
It definitely does, for sure. So it's just something that I enjoy. I've always enjoyed it, and it's a skill that I hope I bring to all my clients and can help out their teams.
Absolutely. And my final question for you this morning has to do with your own individual and personal and professional legacy and how you want that to be defined.
I think as long as people will say that I did good work, that I helped out their businesses, that I made an impact while I was here, that's all I can ask for. That would make me very happy in terms of legacy.
Absolutely. And Anne, finally, tell me, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
They can reach out through my website or through email. So my website is finmarketingm.com, and my email is ann@finmarketingm.com. I would love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Well, and from one communicator to another, I thoroughly enjoyed our time together this morning. I want to thank you for your work in the space of marketing and communications, and for joining me this morning. It's most appreciated.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it as well. Thank you.